Howdy, folks. This is Joker here. Hopefully, I'm streaming. Yeah, it looks like I am. It's been a while, and I probably won't uh, do much more on the channel for a bit. I want to a lot, but work's been intense, and I'm going to have to do some major lifestyle rearranging to make it happen. I've got a stack of projects, like a mile high, and hopefully I can produce something in the next month. As usual for all my vlogs, I've unlisted all the other ones because it's a little self indulgent to pile up a bunch of vlogs with my ridiculous wisdom. But I wanted to share today um, because I came across a video about Robin Williams, and it hit me a little harder than usual because right now, just for the last week or so, I'm really fighting with depression. Depression is something that I fought my whole life. Now, it used to be a lot worse than it has been. I mean, a lot worse. Um, and usually it's not a problem. But every once in a while it comes up, it flares up, and it's really hard to fight. Now, for those of you who haven't experienced depression in your life, it's going to seem a little ridiculous, depression in general. Just cheer up, loser. Like, why not? But it becomes really important uh, as a humorist to really be sensitive to depression, mostly because you find yourself, it taints your thinking. It creeps in there and changes the way you think about, everything. And no matter how disciplined you might be with that thinking, um, you find yourself thinking thoughts that don't make any sense. But at the time, they're the real deal. Um, Lately, I've just been obsessed with being angry at God, which is ridiculous. I don't know why I'm even thinking about that at all. But it's so arbitrary. Like nothing happened. And it's really super clear. I want to make this super clear. Nothing happened in my life to get me thinking and feeling this way. Um, when I say that it flares up, it is very much like getting sick. Um, and that's not a euphemism. You just suddenly lose control of the ability to uh, not get angry and not get frustrated at things, and that's on a good day. I mean, anger is useful because at least you can just focus and get things done. But lethargy comes in, and it's hard to get things done, and like when it really aches, when it really starts rolling in hard, you just start casting about for a way to fix it. And when you start looking for a solution in depression, that's when things get really bad because the logical part of your brain starts saying, well, it's got to be something in my environment. It's got to be something around me that's making me feel this way because you're looking for a fix, right? You start looking around, you're saying, all right, who's responsible for this shit? and and nobody is. I mean, it's just something that's happening in your body. But um, but it's hard to be rational about an emotion. It's just an emotion, and it creeps in, and next thing you know, you're taking it out on your friends. You're taking it out on the people around you by saying things and doing things that aren't about them. They're not real. You're not actually upset that they were late for coffee. It doesn't indicate a specific disrespect for you as a human being, and it doesn't say anything about them as a person. It calms down. It's not about that. But in the moment, all that seems true. So you end up having this great big fight with yourself if you're experienced with depression, if you know what you're doing and how to navigate depression. then you end up just working out how to fight with yourself, um, how to argue yourself into submission with, and not take your own nonsense too seriously. And that, you know, without beating yourself up about it. And that's the other trick, because there's this like really strong desire to be mean to yourself, to call yourself a piece of shit and whatever. And so you've got to let that go too, without ever. But at the same time, you can't take your own thoughts seriously. So every time you're angry or upset, or something happens in your life, you've got to say, well, yeah, okay, but just at the moment, I'm not making a lot of sense. And the temptation is to say something so much crueler. The temptation is to say something like, well, just at the moment, I am full of shit and a complete fucking moron, and whatever. You let it go, man, because none of that's true. It just is what it is. Just this this I don't know, thing has rolled in from outside and has decided that you hurt now. You have pain inside, and when it's done, it'll move away, and you can't make it go away. It's like the weather. So, oh, damn, steam pop up. So you just do your best, man. You try to accept, this is who I am right now, and you try and be patient. But going back to the Robin Williams thing, he killed himself, and I can't blame him. I've over the years worked up a lot of stamina around depression. It got so severe back in the day. I mean, I think I had that opportunity to experience depression to the point where it was like, I cannot imagine a scenario where anything could make me feel this bad. There must be something physically going on. And so I had that moment of revelation, that benefit. But yeah, and that helped, because then going forward, I could always take my own emotions and my own thoughts with a grain of salt. Every time I had like a moment of wise wisdom, like a moment of revelation, where it just hit me, oh my God, I just realized this about life, the universe, and everything. I would remember that in a month, I might look back and say, oh my God, what a lot of nonsense. That was the depression talking. So I had the benefit of learning to not take myself too seriously. And when you're doing that in comedy, you start like dedicating yourself to comedy as a form of therapy, as a way of teaching yourself over and over and over to just laugh, even if laughter is just a layer on top of the pain. At least it's something healthy, something concrete. But sorry, just a sec. But still, it's there. The cloud rolls in, and you can't think straight. I'm going to be so embarrassed in a week when I realize I left this on my channel. Oh my God. God. Yeah, this isn't a cry for help, by the way. I'm not posting this because of that. Just I needed to talk it out, and I didn't want to subject my family to this again. They, I hate putting them through this. Maybe the most painful thing is when you talk about hope. When you're feeling this way, and the truth that life isn't so bad and everything's going to be okay hits you. It's more overwhelming than the bad feelings. It it just like the bad feelings start becoming comfortable. They become your safe place. The bad feelings start becoming familiar, and after you have to deal with it for a really, really long time, they become this sort of like, okay, well, I'm surviving. I know this. And when somebody offers you compassion or comfort, it's overwhelming, and you want to push it away. You want to cling to your depression because you know you're breathing, and so this whole notion of things might be okay, things really are okay. It's you just want to reject it. The only real way out for a depressive like me is just to breathe. Breathe. Take a moment. Take every, just take a breath, relax. If you got to talk it out, but realize that nothing you're saying matters. Nothing I'm doing right now in this stupid little speech of mine live on the friggin' internet. Oh my God, what am I doing? But you got to do it just to spit it out. It's like realize that you're holding on to an instinct of yours, some sort of, maybe it's biological, but maybe you have more control over your biology than you want to admit. So there's this potential that maybe I still can let it go. Again, depressives, we're always desperate to let it go. We want to let it go, but our coping mechanisms aren't always so great. But but talking it out like this really does help. And breathing and being patient and just realizing that rash action isn't helpful. You just have to wait. Just be patient, just wait. But yeah, Robin Williams, everyone was shocked. And all I could think of was, I get it. Because, in the moment, in that moment, you you just forget. You forget all the things you know. Your brain just gets clouded, and all you understand is I've got to find a fix. You get desperate. I don't know. The irony is that one of the biggest things that's been bothering me lately is mortality. I really find that a very frustrating state. I think it's bad design all over. Anyway, that's another issue. We'll set that aside. Man, he really starts with nothing, man. Anyway, I can't imagine anybody still listening to this. Um, if you're out there, and I'm purposefully avoiding looking at the chat window, guys, and I apologize if you've been saying things. I'm sorry. I just needed to talk, get it off my chest, and I needed to do it live, and I needed to do it with this sort of subconscious notion that someone's listening, in part to comfort myself that someone's listening, but also to keep me honest, because there's also this temptation on the part of depressives to like put ourselves up on the cross to say, behold how amazing I am for depressing and being depressed and suffering so. And I kind of have this sense that, like, with a live audience calling me out on my bullshit, that maybe I'll be more honest about all this, and I won't be so precious about it. You'll help me let it go, because sincerely, I want to let it go. I don't want to stay depressed. It's lame. It's stupid. It's pathetic. It's not anything to be proud of. But depressives typically do get a little proud and precious about being depressed. We get it makes us feel special, and I have to like say those things out loud in order to remind myself I have that tendency, um, because otherwise I'll indulge in the temptation to just wear my depression on my sleeve. Look how special I am for feeling bad. Blah blah blah. So having the live audience there, listening to me bullshit, and it keeps me honest, keeps me in check. But I haven't been watching the comments specifically because I don't want the ego reinforcement. I have to be very super careful about that too. Holy crap! I almost stepped on that. And I realize I'm playing a video game while I'm talking, but it helps me check myself as I speak, like I'm talking about. That you have to constantly check your state of mind as a depressive. You have to make sure that you're not lying to yourself about why you're doing things, about why you're saying things, because your motivations are always going to be suspect. You should never treat yourself as trustworthy, you know, because I mean, after all, you're the idiot that's making yourself feel this way. I'm sure I'm responsible in some way. I'm sure that something in me is perpetuating this. It can't be just the weather. I think I was just making an excuse. I want to take responsibility. But maybe I just want to take responsibility to make myself feel better. I don't know. All right, that's my cue. I have to get offline. Um, if you've been listening, thank you. And when this goes on the channel, I'll check your comments tomorrow. Meanwhile, just know I'm going to be okay. Everything's cool. And we'll get some real content on the channel soon. All right, bye bye.